Hey you! Yes you! Are you sick of manual labor? Well, here at Palworld Industries, we know exactly how to keep that sweat off your brow. We can already tell you're going to be a great base manager, and we're so happy to have you aboard. Here's how to automate your base. Now, before we force your pals to do any heavy lifting, we need to make sure you set up a system for keeping them fed. Like my father and his father before him would say, a hungry pal is a useless pal that should be butchered immediately. Let's avoid that best we can. First, craft a feed box to automate the feeding process. It's okay to pick some berries on your own to get things started. Just don't get your hands too dirty. To keep the flow of berries going without you, build a berry plantation so your pals can grow their own food. I'd suggest building 2 of these to start, preferably close together, wherever you'd like in your base. Now it's time to choose who will be working on those berries. Let's take a look at some pal resumes. When possible, you're going to want to find a worker that isn't too overqualified for the task at hand. Something like a tansy or a leaf monk are more likely to abandon the berry field to chop a tree or build something if they get too distracted. However, a caprity can be perfect for the job. These goat-like creatures have a planting rank of 2, as well as a farming skill that acts as a positive distraction. To understand this better, we need to talk about the ranch. The ranch is also unlockable at player level 5, and pals with farming on their resume like this caprity here will enter the ranch to graze. As they do so, they poop out useful items. Caprities drop berries as they graze. So it's planting them in the fields, and then when it takes a break, it's dropping random fully formed ones on the ground. Our competitors can't beat that efficiency. For watering those crops, I suggest hiring a gobfin. They've got a watering rank of 2 and a transporting skill of 1, which is useful because they can move the grown berries to the feed box. For gathering, I suggest hiring a Vixie. You're going to want one of them on your base anyway for the farming skill. They dig up arrows and spheres. So having them gather up the fully grown crops is a good bonus. The downside is that Vixie can't transport what it gathers to the feed box. But as I mentioned earlier, Gobfin can handle that part if need be. We just might have to offer a bigger salary. Another good option here is Daydream, as their resume includes gathering and transporting. Now the berries will repeatedly be planted, watered, gathered, and transported to be eaten, and you never have to touch or think about them again. Eventually, you'll get other types of crops, but I won't cover that here because the process is basically the same. I smell your promotion already. Let's move on to... Remember what you were doing when I met you? That's right. You were chopping down a tree with your own hands. Gross. To make sure that never has to happen again, you're gonna need to be player level 7 so that you can craft a tree pit. These are perfect because no matter where you set up your base, they grant an infinite amount of wood, even if there are no real trees around. Those tree-hugging activists can't stop this type of deforestation. The best pal for the job is Dinosaur. They've got a level 2 lumbering skill as well as a bonus level 2 planting skill that can be very useful if Caprity needs help at the berry plantation. To make sure your hands never get dirty with the pickaxe either, craft a stone pit. These are just like the tree pits and automate the gathering of this resource. Here, I'd suggest you hire a Tombat. They've got an impressive resume that includes level 2 mining, transporting, and gathering. A real team player, that Tombat. Just keep in mind, they won't be able to transport the wood or the stone without you taking it from the pit first and then dropping it right there. That's about 5 pals on staff now, so make sure you make 5 beds. HR said we have to supply them. Now let's take everything you learned and move to a new location. All Palworld industry base managers need a location to farm ore efficiently, and most importantly, automatically. For this onboarding, we'll use this spot as our example. First, follow the same feeding strategy we discussed earlier. These miners are gonna get hungry. Next, make a hot tub. It may seem against HR rules, but it's not, and the miners will thank you. Ignore the tree and stone pits here. We don't need your workers getting distracted. Now it's time to check those resumes. But honestly, the only applicant you should consider is Dig Toys. These turtles only have a mining skill with a level of 3, so that means they'll never get distracted by other tasks. A good secondary is Tombat, who should probably be present anyway due to their transporting skill. So the Dig Toys mines, Tombat helps, and then transports the ore to a nearby storage crate that you should be crafting next. Nearby that storage crate, place a furnace. Warning. This next part is unfortunately the part of the process you have to do manually each time. We're working with upper management to change it, but until that happens, you'll have to take the ore out of storage and place it into the furnace. I'm so sorry. As for the pal you'll want working that furnace, there's a lot of good choices. Foxparks, rubies, or my personal favorite, and excuse my pronunciation, Van Worm. These don't have high kindling, but they do have a level 3 transporting to help move that ore around even faster. That's it. Now go out there and automate your life away. From everyone here at Palworld Industries, good luck and welcome to the team.